So we'll just specifically focus with the technological advantages, why it is being done. So it's a completely different league. There are n number of questions. This is a Formula One track. You can enjoy it or you can literally criticize this, but this is a completely different league what you are going to do once you have these enabling technologies with you. 5 years back there was not even a neuro monitoring what everybody was using, and now we are practically using for say 50 to 70% of cases neuro monitoring. It is needed. So you realize the need when you find those advances. So unwinding and relearning is what is most important. And as complexity, the first thing that comes into it is the deformity part, and it may be for alignment. So it can be for instability, it can be for compressive decompression. This is the three components which is part of any complex thing is there. I'll put few cases across through. Basically, it is for projecting the direction, getting the length and width accurate for the most strongest fixation, which is the pedicle, which is as of now our strength in spine surgery, and changed the bad part or the poor outcome giving spine surgeries to best part was fixation probably. And this one thing gets improved significantly by going the OAM way or say the navigation way. So just going to cases to understand what we can achieve. This is the neurofibromatosis case, is a 15-year-old female girl with this thin, flimsy pedicles. The bone is bad, osteoporotic, pathological bone, completely altered shapes and even directions of the pedicle. You can see two vertebrae completely translated also. Here you cannot achieve a reduction until unless you do a VCR. That was the standard for me usually for doing all these cases, to achieve the bone across anteriorly and create from normal bone to normal bone stud, and still you end up failing in those cases. In these cases you have tried, like this is usually associated with subluxations, with kyphosis, with acute angular deformities which is there. This is the patient's clinical picture what you have. So what you end up doing in these cases now is you have started putting more screws, more screw densities, which is there proximally as well as distally, which was earlier also there. Like what I've done here is you are putting these screws which are anatomical screws, and these screws are which are straight screws, and the anatomical screws are connected across the junction to the opposite side, and the same way the straight screws are connected this way. So I have 4 rods that prevents the failure for these group of patients. Still I'm getting the fusion. So the most important thing which I had in my all cases was that failures were frequent with the implant itself for neurofibromatosis. So first is the strength. So how do you achieve the strength of fixation? By multiple fixation points, and this needs precision. Say this direction, how if it doesn't match, you're not able to get the rods in. So that's how I am able to get away with this group of cases. Say this is a 125-degree kyphosis with myelopathy, 26-year-old female. We are not discussing here why you did the case. We are talking how we did the case and what was the added advantage which you got with this type of cases. So it's not the case discussion probably which we are going to do with this whole spectrum. So this is again myelopathy. We have to do a corrective surgery in this patient. She's 26-year-old. We did a multi-level fixation which was done proximal, distal. Once it is done, we are doing a VCR what was planned. Anteriorly we reached out. After the fixation was done, and once we did the ventral part, this is the cord which is exposed. This is the ventral part we had exposed. After having put the screws, we lost the signal. Once we reached the ventral to the body, we are not decompressed anything to the around the cord. So at that point of time, so what would be the reason why I would lose the signal? So I just got a CT scan then. See, we didn't plan for any navigation here. So we did a CT scan here and we found that there was a screw which was there, which immediately didn't come onto the neuromonitoring. So that was giving a late deterioration which was noted. So we changed the screw because of that finding which we could confirm on CT scan, and then we changed it to, and finally the patient came out good also, and we corrected it also. So an intraoperative doubt what you have can always be corrected with a CT scan which you achieve. So you don't have to get CT scan in all patients, or say you don't have to do navigation in all the cases. You are good at putting the screws. You don't have to use all the aspects of the navigation or the CT based technique for each case. You can use it partly for your advantage and win over the case. Say these are the minimal invasive cases which probably would be the future of the degenerative scoliosis and even maybe an AIS cases. In these cases, if you put an incision and direct your screws, you may miss out. So projecting the direction from the skin itself is possible by a navigated method. So this allows precise position of the skin incision, and that projection is very much useful for any of the MIS techniques. That is the best advantage what you have with any of these navigation based techniques. Now this is another case. He was a complete paraplegia, flaccid Asian, 36-year-old male since a month. This was the Schumann's. The small disc bulges which was there, cord edema was there over this segment of the cord. So I ended up doing a shortening procedure with corpectomy, and this is what had been done. This all was clinical, but I got a per-operative CT scan to confirm the accuracy of each and every screw. Why? Because he is a young patient, 36-year-old. If he doesn't recover a paraplegia, he is going to roam around. And for a small breach also, I am going to be questioned. And this is the medical legal aspect what you are going to face. This patient recovered significantly and he is a normal walker without anything left now. So the surgery remains the conventional one, but the added advantage was my stress-free things. So there's nothing I have to bear as a consequence of a misplaced screw, medial or lateral or whatever you say. So it helps in confirmation. So he is a normal walker now. This is a case. This is a 79-year-old male patient, cirrhotic patient, operated elsewhere with multilevel fixation, presented with a backache now, aggravated mechanical pain, leg pain. You go in through to diagnose that there is an infection which is there and which is going on here. And what you have to do in this group of patients is a iliolumbar fixation. So clinically, you used to put the lumbars, the pelvic fixations. Now you are able to do it with a navigated. So navigated screws, you can put 2 screws into the ilium. So S2AI screws, you are able to put even 2 screws easily. So that gives you added leverage. Say putting 1 screw clinically was okay. Say putting 2 screws, you are having additional leverages. Long screws, it is possible. So how you are able to cross those barriers. In this patient, you also use bone graft because I used both the iliac crest to have good bone graft bed. At the same time, I had used infuse in this patient. I've used calcium sulfate, say stimulant with antibiotic impregnation for delivery of the local antibiotic. With all this done, this is the incision what is there. You have put this is the main incision, this is the bone. So even with the iliac crest bone graft massive, you are harvested bilaterally. You are able to put S2AI screws. So I mean that is the added advantages you have. These are results are awaited. We are talking about the technology, the technique. So this is again the upper dorsal kyphosis, which I usually used to correct earlier, do a VCR corrections, balance the spine out. But for upper dorsal, I have stopped doing anything aggressive. I have started doing more of gibectomies. I have started more of decompressive surgeries because these patients don't come to you for a deformity, but for a myelopathy usually. And my focus is myelopathy, what I need to relieve. So this was one of the patients. So this is possible with short segment fixation also. A bilateral decompression you can do. This is only possible when you can precisely decompress it, and that is possible navigated because you are able to exactly locate where you want to put. I use Misonic as the third party registration. See, this is Misonic which is used. So you can actually do sculpting of the bone which you want to cut. So least amount of bone you have removed, you have more amount of bed you have left. So this is the gibbous part which is there. You are removing a trough of bone inside ventrally. Then this is the slab which is created. What you do is a vertically placed cut beside the cord. You are able to put with Misonic's bone scalpel as third party registration. And then you push the slab down. So I have this much amount of bone which is left here. I have this all bone which is left here, and this is a bed for fusion which I can put. And you are able to get away with short fixations, short surgery, and this is already got published now. So this is the way to get over. So teaching, as we talked and discussed, teaching is easier with navigation. youngsters would be able to reproduce it better than even us. Probably they may not be able to achieve that conventional open surgical confidence, but at the same time, if they get supervised, we have the best of both worlds together. What Saran very clearly mentioned. Angular annotations you can do with the O-arm, you can do stitching of the images, what is there. So this is an AIS which is there. There is a upper curve, there is a lower curve, but it was not much significant on the lower side. It is the upper one which is flexible, and a hump for which we were doing a surgery. The pedicles were small. So in this all case, all the screws I had put, navigated, and after having put everything, corrected everything, you have stitched the images, and with the stitched images, you are able to see and correct the alignment, and you are able to see with the intercostal lines, you are able to compare the things also, and you can see the preciseness of the screw, what you are able to place. Say this is a small pedicle which you are having, and you are able to place it accurately. So here is what the utility of it comes, and the stitched image and the per-operative things of getting a long cassette and imaging and then making those predictions, and not having that whole length film, that all goes here. So this is what you can achieve with this. So for osteotomy, this is specifically important. What Ajay Shetty sir also conveyed. So it is the limited visibility of the anatomy which is there, the heavy bleeding, and you cannot retract the dorsal cord or the cervical cord, and you have to confirm that whether the intravertebral work or the wedge you have created, whether it is complete or not. So the tools which you can use is the navigated stealth midas or a third party navigated, say, ultrasonic bone scalpel. So that helps you to exactly locate where you are cutting through. For angstpond, for PSOs, for wedge osteotomies, you can very well do this. You can precisely plan, and it is of immense help. This is one of the cases which I've just done 2 days back. An angular kyphosis which is there. This is a congenital vertebra which is there, and additionally there is a small another wedge vertebra which is there. These are two vertebrae, and the patient has a discovertebral osteomyelitis at this level. So the patient actually presented as a non-walker with walking difficulties and radicular pains which was there, and this was flexible to this level, and this is what was the disease like this. And what you ended up doing is putting freehand screws, and with the freehand screws which was done, the pedicle screw stimulator triggered EMG. Say you are using the intraoperative neuromonitoring to confirm the positions of the screw, and my better partner Ravi Ranjan was checking each of those screws to make it sure that screws were very correct, and we had all the screws put 6 above, 6 below, all correct. It was fine. But my clinical field said that the screw which was going through the wedge vertebra had some doubt with me on my clinical field, in spite of the INOM saying that there was all fine. So at that point, I could get a navigation in, and in that navigation, I could see that it is just reaching the medial wall here. So at this point of time, I had used all screws which was 7 mm screws. Had I put a 7 mm screw here, I would have definitely caused a problem here. So when you are relying on multiple inputs, you are able to precisely find the problem which can be there, and I could redirect this by navigation. So for this one screw, I could use the navigation, and I could redirect it easily. All other screws are placed; they were all correct. So this is, and at that particular screws, I had used 5 mm screws. Other thing, in the same case, what you ended up doing is that this is a registered probe which you are placing at the upper part of the spinous process we are planning to put the cut. So that gives you the projection of the wedge with the hinge at the anterior vertebral body margin, and this is exactly nearly the 45-degree which you can plan the correction, and it is exactly giving me the point at which I have to put the next cut posteriorly. So this length of my cutting is already pre-decided before the surgery. So that way it helps in planning my wedge of resection in a wedge resection. So a 45-degree correction I could do. That is one thing which is possible. Secondly is that when you are using the probe, you can use this probe for seeing the adequacy of the completion of the intravertebral work. So this is a virtual image there. The part of the bone, this vertebral wedge and this part of the bone you have already removed, but because it is a pre-acquired image already, you will be seeing the bone there. But the feel and the tip tells me that the wedge anterior part is there. Because it's a closing wedge osteotomy, I want a hinge there. I don't want to complete through the anterior part and create a completely loose opening which may open up the cord, which I don't want. So that's how you overcome in this group of patients. And this is very much important in cervical patients, because in cervical patients you are not able to see what is happening ventrally, and you don't want to breach anterior for osteotomies, which we are not doing much of surgeries for cervical deformities, but those who are doing it would be of very big help. So this is what we able to achieve a moderate correction, and this was what was possible as we planned. So this is an olive case with a percutaneous sextant in lateral position. The same position you are able to do the olive as well as the percutaneous sextant position. Umesh was with us for this, and he was the major doer in this case. We are early beginners for the anterior surgeries for fusion. So what we did is that put a percutaneous screw there in the lateral position, and at the same time someone else is calculating the trajectory and the opening up procedure for the anterior, and you have done the anterior for a listhesis which was L45. So both the procedures could be simultaneously done with the same sitting. So what you are achieving, say it is a microscope mounted thing which is going on further. So this we have already placed the guide wires there, done the procedure microscopically anterior, coming back again putting the screws. So you are saving hell lot of time. You are able to finish this olive in say matter of 1 to 1.5 hours. It is possible to finish, and with experience it may get reduced significantly, so even maybe around 1 hour. So everything is so much helpful in if we use the enabling technologies. So safe spine surgery is what is needed. Precision matters. The errors of navigation and technology can be even bigger than what is the open surgeries, what Ajay Shetty sir very well mentioned, and whether this precision matches with the clinical outcome, that is something is an open question. So we are talking here of precision, and now we balancing it with an outcome. That is something which we need to see in the future. Thank you.